I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these dudes' throats.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! Back at it again for another edition of the MMA Analysis podcast. I wish I knew what episode number it is, but I lost track of the count years ago. Joining me this week, the usual suspects these days. We got the Kentucky Sodsman, Wes Colvin, and some people's favorite Canadian, New Sean.
Not everybody.
I heard you I know. I've heard that you were, a nice, good old boy like yourself. I wasn't expecting you to make enemies last week, but apparently you are. You're a bully extraordinaire. What's going on with you?
I'm a big.
What is going on?
I'm a big meanie. I don't know if you know this, Jay, but I'm just a big meanie. I like to bully people. That's kind of my MO. We have fun on this podcast. I guess everybody laughs until it's them that we're making a bit of fun of, and then it gets serious, and then we're a bunch of meanies. So we got to watch who we make fun of, I guess, from now on.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. I know, Sean. You got to do your Canadian, United Nations. Everybody's, everybody's cool with everybody's thing. A little more in reality down here in the States.
Yeah.
I got no problem. It's okay. There's a lot of nerds out there. Definitely
very
are.
Sensitive too. It's crazy.
Of course they are. It's a very
touchy subject.
We like some of them. There's others that we don't.
Yeah, it's a very controversial word.
But
subject.
Sean's right. We make fun of a lot of shit and a lot of people on here, and you can't get all butt hurt when it's your.
No, don't say
it's
butt
your
hurt.
I mean,
man, that's offensive. That's offensive.
Yeah,
come on. Got to be PC these days.
Yeah, Wes. What are you saying to these people? What are you trying to do here? What kind of agenda do you have?
I don't want Matt to start sending me dick pics and shit.
Man, you're gonna trigger him. Oof.
Yeah, man. But we have fun on here. The people know, the people we make fun of, the ones know who we get along with and like, man. But there's just, you do certain shit, man, and you got to know that people's going to come for you and they're going to fuck with you about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go tout, you're going to get fucked with by people, whether they're joking, like some like us, we just fuck around. Others are serious. I mean, there's other guys on Twitter that run around and literally do an accounting of your shit, and we'll call you out every day. Dougie.
Bottom line, don't take Twitter so serious, everyone. It's all for jokes. I don't know if you're trying to make a business out of this, but it's just for fun. Chill out. I think that's what it comes down to.
Especially guys that you've talked to on here for 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you've talked to somebody on Twitter for that long, it's like you don't hate them, or you'd stop talking to them a long time ago, interacting with them a long time ago. But yeah, quit taking shit so serious, man. Let those panties bunch.
There we go.
Speaking of nerds, the moral high ground Twitter police nerds are not happy. Are not happy as
not
we are
happy
producing
with the goat.
They are not happy with what it just transpired as we're doing our recording.
It's beautiful.
The king is back. Jonathan Dwight Jones has been cleared by USADA. He's back. He can fight as of late October. I don't know if that means he'll be scheduled for that Madison Square Garden card in November.
Yes, you do.
Dana says he's not going to fight till next year, so you know what that means.
I know exactly what that means.
MSG card. Yep.
Nerds are not happy because he's not really the greatest fighter of all time. He cheated his way there. He apparently now taking cocaine doesn't allow you to head kick people to. It actually enhances your ability to kick people into oblivion. That's what I've been hearing. I mean, it's wild, right, Wes? Like, what? Yeah. What else is there to say? He's back.
Boy, you can say what you want about the roids. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's all kinds of different, thoughts on that, but. Don't ever tell me that Jon Jones going on cocaine benders on fight week again. Like, the dude was still doing cocaine benders, dude. That does not help you fucking head kick knockout DC. Like, get the fuck out of here. And, man, like, think about that. Dude is literally still a cokehead, coked out of his mind on fight week, doing that to probably the second great light heavyweight, a top 5 fighter, 10 at most of all time in DC. That's just incredible. I find it funny that on the same day the UFC was tweeting out promoting Greg Hardy, fighting on Fight Pass again and shit, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Greg Hardy's back. That's awesome and shit." The same people are like, "Oh, fucking Jon Jones, cheating ass motherfucker." Like, it's like. The standards that
selective
people
memory.
Well, just Jon Jones. No, just Jon Jones for some reason. Anybody else can be the biggest piece of shit ever, but if Jon Jones, it's something with him, man.
You know what I think it is?
They hate the greatness.
I think it's that these. I don't want to say the word, but nerds from the Pride era are so upset that Jonathan Dwight just obliterated all of their Pride heroes that they got penis envy for Jonathan Dwight.
Most of them are newer fans. Like the old school guys that like me don't give a fuck, man. We know how fucking rampant steroids.
Some that aren't. There's a mix.
There is guys that always were the clean up the sport warrior, or the quote always wanted it to be a sport. You know what I'm saying? And lived in that fantasy world to where it was going to be clean and be a sport. And there's old school fans like me that are like, it's fucking cage fighting. It's always going to be cage fighting. You know what I mean? There's something wrong with most of these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
There is.
You gotta have something off a little bit to go do that shit. But yeah, I agree. There is those old school kind of crusaders that always wanted it to be this clean sport like baseball or some shit. It's never going to be that, man. And I'll say it again. Your favorite fucking fighter has done steroids. I guarantee you. GSP was on steroids.
Still
you don't
might
think
be doing
GSP
steroids.
Anderson Silva was on PEDs.
Multiple times. He got popped. I mean, they're all on something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
over him. The list goes on.
Yep. Yeah.
Unless your favorite fighter is Frankie Edgar, maybe not.
No, dude,
Him
come
and
on, man.
Diaz's, that's about it. But I don't know.
Edgar, yes.
First of all, just fuck you,
Melendez was popping hot. Gilbert Melendez was popping hot.
Yeah,
I mean,
same with Jake Shields.
Jake Shields popped hot. That whole Gracie, all the Gracies. Like, come on, man. Like, that's why I say Frankie Edgar and them's all up there with Henzo and shit. Henzo's popped hot. Everybody does fucking steroids, man. Come on, everybody.
Maybe not Cody McKenzie.
Only thing he's getting fucking popped for is whiskeys before he walks out to fight.
Different kind of PE thing.
Yeah. But yeah, fuck USADA. Not because of this bullshit with Jon Jones, just fuck them in general. Everybody thinks they're cleaning up the sport. They're still a crooked-ass organization that is showing that they're cleaning up the sport when they're not. If you have enough money, you can get away with it. It's just a facade. The faster they get away from the UFC, the better the fights will be, and I mean the better off the fighters will be, because the recovery, the less injuries, the more money they can make. If you think that these steroids are gonna cause an injury compared to just non-steroids, you're insane. when guys fight. So it's a complete waste of fucking time.
Oh,
And just robs fighters of money, robs fans of fights.
Entertainment.
It's entertainment. It's just a joke.
You always hear like, well, what's going to happen when a guy dies? You know, and a guy's on steroids. They act like it's going to give
Dada was close.
they're good. They act like it's going to give them this superhuman like death blow or something. It's like guys use steroids to recover, to be able to train every day, all out, and still make fights. You know what I'm saying? Like guys will bulk up and shit, of course, but that's not what it's all about, man. It's like you said, dude. You want really good fights and guys not pulling out of fights, and that's what they were using that shit for, man. Guys ain't out there getting like death blows. Like Jon Jones could shoot up all the steroids he want. That did not teach him that kick that knocked out DC. What no amount of steroids going to be put in his shin bone that knocked DC out. It just ain't going to happen like that. I'm just that shit just stabs me, man. Yeah, and you know, dude, we got a particular one that goes off every time Bones comes up. And man,
you guys see Dougie's tweet regarding Jon Jones that he just wrote?
Oh, jeez. What's Dougie doing these days? He's ruffling some more feathers.
A little bit.
Snitching.
Welcome back to the dance, man.
Oh, fuck. I love Dougie. He's such a troll. He's so good.
Did you see anybody on Twitter like mention one word about like Des Green last week? Like Des Green that was in probably a DUI that killed people, and like nobody mentions a word. Des Green exciting in a fight.
It's incredible. It's incredible that no one questioned it. No one said anything. I was flabbergasted. I think we're the only ones who talked about it.
Yeah,
Jon Jones. But Jon Jones, oh my God, he did cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God.
Jon Jones ran away from an accident with a broken arm. Des Green was involved in an accident that involved several dead.
Look at that. That's bad. Jon Jones should have been called out for that, and I called Jon Jones out for that shit. That's a piece of shit thing to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and another, like, people act like Jon Jones ain't, like, served penalties for all that shit. Like, the dude he just sat for 15 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a penalty. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude had just won the title back and shit and was going to probably fight Brock for fucking who knows how many millions of dollars. That's a pretty big penalty for fucking doing some steroids. I mean, he's being punished. Every time he fucks up, he's punished.
Yes, he is.
Hell, you got these other guys that are getting popped and doing 6 months and shit. Retroactive fucking 8-month suspensions and shit. Like, come on, man. Jon Jones gets hit harder than any of these dudes. He deserves it most of the time, but he does get hit. He gets hit for it.
Just get rid of USADA. It'll be a better place for everyone.
Yeah.
Better for fighters. Better for the UFC. Better for the fans.
Hard to disagree with that one.
Yep. But they got to do it because politics and all that bullshit. But whatever. The GOAT's back. He better be fighting sooner rather than later to give us a hell of a fight again, and we'll see. There's some big fights coming.
I'm pretty sure ESP. Yeah.
I don't know. Twitter's gonna drive me crazy tonight because people are like talking about USADA, like, you know, why get rid of USADA? It's just like, if you can't see how fucking they're a business. They are employed by the UFC. They're not there to fucking make, like Sean said, they're not there to make the sport better. They're there to work for an employee. You know what I'm saying? They're employed by a company. Just like Dana White, they got this shit to go away by money. You know what I'm saying? Like, if USADA went by their rules, Jon Jones shouldn't fight for 4 years. I mean, period. It's in their rules. How that shit, they find loopholes and shit. USADA ain't there to make the fucking sport better, dude. They're there to make money. They're a fucking business. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think a company like ESPN it would be hard for them to get it on a channel like ESPN when there's no sanctioning involved and every other major sport has some sort of anti-doping
well, it's not like they don't do drug testing. They do drug testing the night of the fight. And and some athletic commissions do a little more increased testing, like California. That's fucking good enough for me.
And look at, like, you got some fighters that are, like, literally tested 24 times in a year.
I don't get that either.
That's
One guy's legitimately, like, two guys fight twice in a year. One guy's tested twice. One guy's tested 7 times. Okay, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
really
that's the whole bullshit of it. That's why USADA is absolute bullshit. It's not all up the board. It's not all fair and even. That's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what they should do is if you've tested positive once, you should be tested with more scrutiny moving forward.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to have a rules and sanctioning, that's what you should do. I mean, it's just like if you commit a crime, if you do it again, you're on parole, like, or probation. You do something again, then you get scrutinized. I mean, you have parole officers. Like, there are things they have systems in place, but the randomness of this whole thing to me is bizarre. And even worse is, like, as you guys kind of said, is like the nonsensical rules. How many times has something been someone tested positive, and then there's like a B sample and it's not positive, or they somehow find a way out of it? Like, it happens a lot. I mean, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it happens a lot, and there's so many loopholes. It just comes off as so Bush League, minor league nonsense. That's all.
Financial. The guys with money and good backing can get out of the shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want it to be, like, fair across the board for everybody like you claim it to be, you know, Jon Jones shouldn't have fought for 4 years if you want to go by the book, you know, but
here we are. Let's move on. I've had enough talking about USADA.
Another great card. But Russia, first time, Jay, was pretty good, man.
We all knew this was going to happen. It would be fun. It's hard not to. And the sad part is this is probably like a C-plus card of what they could have done, honestly. They could have done, God knows what they could have done here. With all the fighters that are, I mean, I'm just talking about fighters that actually have some sort of, you know, Russia/Soviet, you know, former Soviet state lineage. Like, the kind of guys they could have had fight on this event. Like, it could have been a little, like, you could have had Zabit fight or Habib fight, you know, Mac and Cheese. Like, this card could have been stacked top to bottom. It was still pretty good, though. Let's start with it. I'll do half the fights on the, there's 8 Fight Pass prelim cards and then 4 Fight Pass main card fights. I'll split these up into 3 segments. First fight up was Merab Dvalishvili, the Georgian fighter. Man, he ran through Terrion Ware 30-25 by decision. Ramazan Emviv had no problem really with Stefan Sekulic. Decisions across the board. Jordan Johnson beat the muscled up Adam Yandiev for a rare Russia loss on this card. And then Magomed Ankalaev, woof, this was nasty. Finish of Marcin Prachnio. I'll start with Wes. Thoughts on those 4 fights?
Yeah, man, I thought Dashvili was gonna win, dude, but man, he showed up and performed. That was one of the few fights that I literally didn't have any kind of money on, and I kind of regretted it. I think Ware ended up like dislocating his shoulder or something, tearing his shoulder,
or separated it. Yep.
Yeah, and man, you talking about a guy picking you up and tossing you around like he got tossed around. That's some steel balls, man, to go 15 minutes like that, dude. MV looked good, man. Another one of these, you know, one of those guys over in that area, man, looking good. Watch out for him going forward. Jordan Johnson, man, really performed. The guy he was fighting was an absolute fucking scrub, man. But he went over. He traveled a long way, man. And what I was really impressed with is how he looked, man, cutting to 185, dude. He looked really good, really healthy. He might be a problem down at 185, man, because there's just not a lot of guys down there, and with that wrestling base and stuff, I'm intrigued to see Jordan Johnson going forward, man, at 185. And then, man, I know we talked about Ankalaev, dude, and how he fucking quit in this fight before this one, but God damn, man. I mean, we knew he was good. We was just worried about that quitting. But, man, that guy's the real, man. That dude's going to be he's pretty good. I like that cat, man. Watch out for him.
New Sean, do you echo Wes's sentiments on these guys?
Yeah, for the most part. I got smoked on these first 4 fights. Luckily, there weren't any big bets or anything, but swing and a miss on Terrian Ware. That was smart on Wes's part. His breakdown last week was pretty on point there. The chalk was definitely worthy in that one. Amiv, I thought he had that. If there was probably about 5 more seconds, 10 more seconds left in that first period or first round, I think he gets the finish there, and then he definitely just could not catch him after that. That seems to be a growing trend with him, where he just doesn't put his stamp on fights. He kind of just coasts a bit, so that's a bit scary. But he definitely has some clean boxing, and takedown defense look pretty damn good. So he's just got to put his foot down and get it done. Jordan Johnson just manhandles the roid monster. Not really a surprise there. And then just a beauty by Ankalaev. Good to see after the choke job that happened in his debut. So that's a guy to watch as long as he can not tap with 1 second left in a fight.
Yeah, the Valashvili is just a nightmare matchup for like 75% of fighters in that weight class. It's just, he's like literally like the last guy some folks are going to want to face, just because he's just going to take you down over and over and over and make you work. He's a tough out. Amiv is just he's really solid. It's just, he's so composed and just doesn't take risks that he's going to end up in fights where folks are just going to get frustrated with him not finishing or going for it. Yeah. But he's going to rack up wins. It'll be difficult to beat. Jordan Johnson just has great size for that middleweight division now. I'm with Wes. I think he could win quite a few fights in this division, and he's going to be a difficult guy for guys to beat. He's a good wrestler. He's, like I said, he's just like 6'4", like really long, like just like a long wingspan. He's just built, as just in size and just kind of stoic, and he's going to do well. And then I won't say much about Ankalaev. There's just so many guys from this region of the world that they just come in and they can win fights pretty easily. It feels like there's such a void. There's probably like another 40 or 50 guys that are out there and could easily be a top 20, 25 guy in random divisions in the UFC. Next 4 fights on the prelims. Mairbek Taisimov coming off a layoff against Des Green, and I know it says 30-27 across the board, but this is definitely no 30-27 across the board type of fight. Cajun Johnson and Rustam Kabalov. Once again, this one was interesting. At the very least, Cajun Johnson put Rusty Cables in a dogfight, and he was pretty lucky, I think, to ultimately get the result. Easily the best fight on the card.
Pants off. Man.
Yeah, this was total surprise here. I was stunned. Jinsu Sun looks pretty damn legitimate in the loss. I know he lost, and it wasn't, it was clear, but this guy can take a heck of a punch, and he smiles the entire time. It's something else. I think, but Peter Yan is special. I don't think you need to watch a lot of fights to know that this guy is extremely gifted. He kind of reminds me a bit of Thomas Almeida when he came up. There's a lot of hype around his striking ability. It was just, from a technical standpoint and what he can offer, it reminds me a lot of Peter Yan, except Peter Yan is a lot better defensively. And he can grapple a bit. So it's Peter Yan's much higher ceiling than Thomas Almeida is, but again, like the same kind of striking talent, which probably puts him in the top 5 to that division in terms of that. And then, you know what? We'll skip that last fight.
That's gonna be.
Let's do these 3, and then we'll spend 5 to 10 minutes talking about that. All right, Wes. Thoughts on these 3 fights?
Yeah, I mean, Dez actually went over and performed pretty good, man, with all the shit he's got going on. You could see the layoff definitely bothered Tyson off, man. He was pretty rusty in that fight. Man, I gotta give it to Cajun Johnson, dude. Like that's about as rough a spot as you can be in, man. Like getting sent over halfway around the world to fight fucking Rusty Cables over, man. That he performed, man. I mean, I would have had no problem. I thought it was close. I scored it for Javilov, but I bet on him too. So I was a little biased, but I would not argue if you would have scored that for Cajun Johnson, man. Like, it sucks that he's got to go out like that, man. But that was a hell of a performance, man. Props to him. And man, I'm telling you, you got it pretty right with both of these guys in this fight, man. Jinsu's son, dude. That in that division, as light as it is in spots, but you need a guy like that in that division. That was an awesome fight, man. That was insane. That guy, he was every bit of a part of making that fight as good as it was, dude, because he gave it back to Peter Yan. I thought he looked good in like big spells of rounds in that fight, man. He was winning parts of it, looking pretty good. But Peter Yan, he's special, man. That he's the real deal, man. I don't know, his boxing and kind of technical boxing and just like you said, his defensive work, his footwork reminds me a lot of TJ, of Dillashaw, man. A lot of similar stuff to me, and that's a good thing because I think TJ is one of the best strikers in MMA at this point. And Peter Yan reminds me a lot of him, man. And that guy, he's really good, man. He's got to get somebody up there in his next fight. They need to start getting him big fights because I think he deserves them at this point.
Sean, what do you think?
Not a good look from Tyson when he gets, he has all those visa issues, can't come to the United States, man, and then misses weight by 5 pounds. Not a great look.
I forgot about that. Jesus.
Obviously made the bets, the inside the distance bets before that, assuming he was going to show up and be motivated. He just wasn't himself, rusty. I don't know if he was injured. That's why he came in overweight. I don't think he's ever really had a weight issue before, so I'm not sure what the deal is there, but a bit frustrating. That was definitely closer than what the card said. And yeah, like Wes, you got to give props to Cajun Johnson. This guy had his back against the wall. UFC hates him. He's had to go through like a death's row of kind of mid-range fighters in just one after another. UFC just trying to get him beat to death. Goes to Russia against Javilov and arguably won that fight. Like Wes, I had money on Javilov, but I scored it for Cajun Johnson. He's really improved. I hope he goes to something like PFL, makes some money. I don't know what he's gonna do now, but it's kind of unfortunate. And then Jinsu's son, UFC, whatever you do, don't put a wrestler against a guy like this. Like, why do I have a feeling that the UFC is just going to throw him against a wrestler and he's just going to get laid on for 3 rounds? And I just have a bad feeling that that's going to happen next. This guy is just an absolute warrior, mini Korean zombie. Just put him in fun fights. He's early in his career. I don't think he's too old. Just put him in fun fights. Don't put him against wrestlers that are gonna.
There's something about Koreans, man.
Yeah, they're crazy, man.
There's something about them, man. They're wild, man. I'm glad we get to see one here in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Me and Sean, yeah, gonna be fun.
And then Khalid Murtaz Aliyev. That's hard for me. And CB Dalloway. Let's not even talk about this fight. We know that Murtaz Aliyev won by technically referee stoppage by TKO. Dalloway gave up. He couldn't fight. Like, that's the reality of it. But we need to have a serious conversation. I don't want it to be too long, but this is the pattern with Herb Dean, right?
I know, but like, nobody else sees it. we've been kind of on this train for a while, shitting on Herb with some of his actions, but
some people see it.
He doesn't really get the flack that a lot of these other guys get, and it's bad. That is atrocious. Like, I honestly want to know if Herb had fight starts round 2, because it sure as hell looked like he did.
Yeah, round 3, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, round 3.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke Rockhold, Chris Weidman, that was bad. Jose Aldo, Max Holloway, the first fight, that was bad.
Even worse, man.
This was worse.
Holloway was a fish. Like, he was a dead fish. He was not putting up any defense, wasn't moving, was straight up laying on his stomach, and
he was asked to defend.
Afterwards, though, in between rounds was just the absolute worst part, though. Yeah, when he's yelling at him to get up or he's going to stop the fight, and he literally says it like 10 times, and Holloway's just fucked. Yeah. I mean, he's slumped over, fucked. It's like, that was the worst part to me. Like, are you that fucking brain dead to where you're going to continue saying, get up or I'm going to stop? No, dude, you should have stopped the fight fucking a minute and a half ago, you dumb shit. That was it for me. Like, Herb should never ref again.
Yeah, if the UFC or the Athletic Commission had any balls, they would have pulled Herb from any fights after that. But of course they won't because of his name. I mean, they've done it before with other refs, but that was not the case, and that was a joke. I haven't seen Dana White say anything about that. Like, he just doesn't give a fuck, I guess. But that was a joke.
And he'll say shit about fucking Mazzagatti or
8 years after.
Him and fucking what's his face, fucking
Yamasaki.
Oh, Yamasaki.
Yeah, Yamasaki. I mean, he'll be tweeting during the fight about those motherfuckers. Nothing about.
Yeah, he probably didn't even watch this fight. That's why. He doesn't give a shit.
That was bad though, man. That's one of the roughest I've seen. Just it's like he went brain dead, man. Yeah. Or like you said, he had a damn bet. Like, he had money on that shit.
I don't know. It was a terrible, terrible look, and people need to be asking questions about that. Like, I don't know. It's terrible.
It is terrible. That's enough time on that, I think. Main card, Alexei Kunchenko made his UFC debut against Thiago Alves. Okay fight, but, I thought it didn't meet really my expectations overall. Kunchenko won by, unanimous decision. And that was correct. Wes, thoughts on Kunchenko? Underwhelming, overwhelming?
A little underwhelming, of course, but he looked like he fought really, really safe in that fight.
Sure.
He was that. This guy's pretty huge over there, man, and I think he had to win this fight, dude. Undefeated record on the line in front of all, I think he played it really safe, but I mean, I'm a little intrigued. The guy's getting a little older though, and I don't know what the UFC are going to do with some of these guys going forward. Like have them fight in Europe on some Europe cards, or some of them going to get. I mean, I'm sure Peter Yan and those guys that get bigger fights maybe over in the States. But I just don't know what they're going to do with some of these guys, and he's one of them. I'm curious to see how they match him up next time. But I mean, I'm intrigued. I thought he played it safe, but decent win. Alves didn't do bad though. I thought Alves was just completely done, and I mean he didn't fight too bad. So we'll see what happens with him.
Nushan.
Yeah. Agree wholeheartedly with Wes. Kunchenko finally did turn it up in the third, kind of opened up and started throwing a lot more variety and being more aggressive. So I don't know if that was just kind of playing it safe. It was his UFC debut, so there's some things in there. So definitely was underwhelmed, but he definitely showed some good stuff in the third. So we'll see what he comes with next. And Alves didn't look horrible, so maybe I'll get another chance to fade him next time.
Maybe. Well, this next fight was a real stinker. Shamil Abdurakhimov, decision win over Andrei Arlovsky. And man, This was an absolute snooze fest. We knew it was either going to be a quick knockout or a snooze fest. We got snooze fest. Wes, 5 seconds.
I thought snooze fest. I bet snooze fest, and happy I got a snooze fest.
Yep,
Wes
called it. Wes called it.
Co-main event.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4 in the light heavyweight division. I had no idea he was ranked number 4 in the light heavyweight division. Blachowicz, I feel like an absolute idiot picking Krylov to win this fight. And I saw this coming. I don't know what I was thinking. Other than the fight didn't go to distance, I did say that. But yeah, this Krylov once again exposed, and Blachowicz has 4 straight wins in the UFC with the submission in the second round. He made it look pretty easy, Wes, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty much dead on with you there. I bought into Krylov, man, and if you look closely, man, he went out the UFC and was beating on just absolute trash cans, and came back and fought a guy that I keep underrating a little bit, not really underrating, but just a little bit each time, and it seems like he always costs me, man. I don't know what it is with Blachowicz, but I can never get one of his fights right, and I don't know how much you put into this one with how apparently limited Krylov is, but Blachowicz just keeps winning, man. So you got to give him that.
That's right. New Sean.
Yeah, I threw a 1-unit bet on Blachowicz late. The price elevated. I got him at plus 135, and then I threw a half unit on him by sub at plus 650. So
he did.
I was pretty pumped about the result there. One of those last-second degenerate ads that works out. But yeah, you could tell the difference. If Blachowicz wasn't going to get knocked out, I think it was fairly easy to see that he was either going to just grind on him for 3 rounds or just get him down and sub him. Blachowicz is a black belt, so he's definitely has some subs in him, and he showed that on Saturday.
He's so much stronger than guys, man. He's got some deceptive strength, man.
Yeah, he does. His leg kicks are also nasty too.
Yeah, he had that body kick against Latifi a while back. He's a skilled fighter. He's just, I think people underrate him because he is in some boring fights. But the last 2 fights, him against Manoa, that was a pretty fun fight, and this one was pretty good while it lasted as well.
Main event. This was something else.
Fuck.
Mark Hunt lands a bunch of leg kicks. Oleinik can't walk. Somehow Oleinik supposedly herds Hunt on the feet. Not much happens. They end up on the ground, and then Hunt looks like a dead fish.
Yep.
It's over. And the guy that doesn't have a neck got submitted via neck. Rear naked. Oleinik wins again. This has to be, outside of Dan Kelly's run of 5 wins in a row or whatever it was, this has to probably be the most surprising run of victories I've kind of seen in the UFC in years. Wes, do you agree with that?
And
it's up there.
Old man win streak for sure.
The Darren Elkins is probably because he beat some hella guys, but yeah, man. He said he didn't have a neck to get the Ezekiel choke, but he didn't say he didn't have a neck to snatch him from the back. Yeah, man. I was going back and forth on this fight, man, and I liked Oleinik when he was decent plus money. Then I got to talking to guys on Twitter, guys I listened to their opinion, man, and everybody liked Hunt. I kind of got switched, man. I started looking at it more, and it's like, man, yeah, he's going to knock this guy out. He can't. Man, it's just Hunt. All these years, man, Hunt just still doesn't know what to do when shit hits the mat, man. It's gotten a little better. His takedown defense has gotten a little better over the years, but, man, once it gets there, dude, he doesn't have much, man, but just trying to get back up. And he got caught again, man. Yeah, give it to the old man. I hate that I didn't have it. This is one of the few picks that I got wrong on this card, man, that at one point I think I was point 0.3 points out of first in Toutmaster, and then I got these last 2 fights wrong. So, good on Olenek, man, and hopefully they give him something pretty good next time, man. Give the old man a test. I think he deserves it. Like Jay said, it's one of the pretty good runs in recent MMA, man, for sure.
All right, new Sean. So who is that? Who should that guy be? Who should he face? I mean, you got to be somewhere around like 5th, 6th, 7th in the division. No, he should be facing someone like that, right?
Derek Lewis?
Oh God.
Lewis is fighting Volkov, right?
Oh no, Lewis. Oh, I don't. Is that happening?
Yeah, I think Lewis is fighting Volkov.
What about JDS?
It is.
JDS
It's supposed to headline. It's headlining a card somewhere.
Oh,
I'm
right.
looking it up.
What about JDS? Does he have a guy he's fighting?
I think so.
I don't know when that fight card's happening. I gotta look this up.
Yeah.
I think JDS has
Might
got
have
one
made that up
book too.
somewhere.
When to give Mark Hunt a little bit of credit, the last time he was subbed before this was in 2010. So I know he does look like a fish out of water on the ground, but at least he hasn't been subs in 8 years. He definitely had him in danger. I still think this is kind of a coin flip fight. But, I was an idiot. I obviously added when Hunt got down to minus 120 really late, so I lost 2 units there. But what can you do? Olenek just keeps pulling that rabbit out of the hat. Eventually, he's going to go up against someone that isn't going to get taken down, and he's going to be destroyed. Maybe he fights Overeem.
Yeah, he's going to get knocked out.
Like,
there you go. Yeah.
Overeem's number 6. He's number 8. Overeem or Dos Santos are 2 guys ahead of him.
Interesting.
Or if you don't get him somebody ahead of him, a nice test, Young, give him Tai Vusu or however fuck you pronounce his name. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work too.
The fight is on the next fight card. Derek Lewis and Volkov are fighting.
They're the co-main, or they were going to be the co-main event for the McGregor fight until they.
Now they have Ferguson. And
yeah,
Pettis.
now they have Ferguson and Pettis. But yeah, JDS or Overeem, I'd watch those guys kill Olenek.
Overeem would knock him out, like straight up. Overeem would knock him out.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so too.
JDS would knock him out.
Well, someone's got to knock him out, I feel.
Yep. Holy shit, we got a big fight card to go over. I think we're going to have to do some quick breakdowns for some of these fights.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on some of these. First fight up, we're going to Brazil, back to Brazil, so you know what that means. Livia Renata Souza taking on Alex Chambers in a strawweight bout, where I believe Souza is the biggest favorite on the card, right, Wes?
Yeah, pretty huge. I believe like minus 1,300 or something.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Alex Chambers is pushing 40. Man, she's in trouble here. She's probably going to get subbed. I think this is going to be a women's fight that is inside the distance, actually. And
no,
Souza's going to win. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I think so.
I put a unit on. I put a unit on goes the distance at plus 182. I got a shitty line. It's like plus 220 now, and then I also put a half a unit on Souza by decision at plus 250 because I have a feeling she's. I don't know. She might not finish.
Wait a second.
Chambers is tough, man. She's tough. I just don't think
she's probably going to get subbed here, but I got to take a shot at some
plus money like that. You don't see it often.
Yeah. There's not much to talk about. I got Souza C-, Chambers a D-, and really the D- going on F. She is terrible. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. She's going to get taken to the ground, I think, in all 3 rounds, and she's going to probably be on her back for about 13 and a half minutes of this bout. Not good. That's if it goes the distance. If not, she's going to get finished. This is a beating. Souza wins. Next fight up, I'm not even sure what we got going on here. We got Elijah Dushku returning. I know it's a West favorite, taking on something called Luigi Vendramini. Is that an actor or an artist or a fighter? What are we doing here?
He's the Italian stallion.
What's
He's Brazilian though.
No, he's from Italy.
What are we? With a name like Luigi?
Yep. That's Italian, bro.
I got nothing to say.
I know
here.
it's Italian, but they're saying he's Brazilian.
Says who?
Oh, his nickname's Bolina or Bolhina. Tapology. Yeah.
Motherfucking Tapology says he's from Brazil. Sherdog says he's from
Yeah.
Italy. What the hell we got going on here?
He's got a Brazilian nickname.
Yeah, maybe moved over there or something. He's definitely Italian though. You ain't named fucking Luigi.
You think he's got a kid over in Brazil, like everyone's favorite English deadbeat dad?
At least he's over there training being a dad, right?
Maybe that's where he learned to be a dad. Maybe he's the new dad of Darren Till's kid. Who knows?
Maybe if you take care of your kid, you wouldn't get choked dead in the center of the cage by a big hog fucking African American man.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man, this kid looks like a kid, dude. 22 years old, and some of the guys that he's fighting are like 0-0 and shit. I don't know if it's a short notice or what, but he's in tough here. He's going to get fucked up by Elijah Dushku.
Sean, keep it simple. This is not close, is it?
No, and I mean the odds tell you that. I put fight doesn't go 3 rounds in a parlay, just a 1-unit parlay at -185. This Luigi guy has not ever gone to a decision. He's 8-0 with 4 KOs, 4 subs. And Elijah Dushku's actually blossomed into a pretty damn good fighter. I know we kind of fucked around with him early on in his career, but he's got some good wins and some nice finishes. So I expect him to do work to this young gun and probably finish in the second round or so.
Yeah, this is a man versus boy kind of situation. Elijah Dushku is a legitimate fighter who's fought with men, been in dogfights with men, has beaten men. Is solid. He's facing a guy who might as well just be an extra coming off, like Stranger Things or something. This kid looks like he's 16 years old, man. He does not look like he's ready for the face, a real veteran, solid fighter. I don't see this being close at all. Next fight on the docket, we got, this one people should know, middleweight bout between two guys heading towards Shady Acres, Talus Ladies and Hector Lombard. Wes, which one you think is going to piss more ecto cooler?
I mean, down in Brazil, Hector Lombard probably setting everything around him on fire. God damn, he's probably got a fire truck following him around. I think, Latest looks just completely fucking washed. Not saying that Lombard isn't, but man, you got to figure Lombard's down in Brazil, back on the mountain yams, and man, they opened him at +125, man, and fuck, he knocked out CB last time. It was a tick over the bell, but
tick or four.
He slick knocked out CB. I think he's gonna knock out Latest, man. I took a little shot at +125, man. Not nothing big, but I just think that Latest is far more washed at this point than Lombard is, and I'm pretty sure that Lombard's gonna be on the good shit down there in Brazil.
New Sean, anything different there?
Ugh, how the mighty have fallen. Latest 2-5 in his last 7. Lombard 0-5 in his last 5. I think Lombard's a little bit less washed, so I'll pick him, but I don't want my money anywhere near either of these guys, especially with Lombard doing some dumb shit like he did last time.
That was awesome.
What do you got,
Joe? Yeah, I got both guys at C-. I have no idea how this fight's going to go. I'll be candid. Both guys are washed. Lombard has a clear advantage on the feet, I would say. in terms of striking power on the ground. Lombard can certainly get the fight there, but obviously ladies is a huge advantage in terms of submission game. Honestly, like I said, I don't know. And if it goes beyond the round and a half, man, you would think ladies would have a little bit of advantage, but who the hell knows? This is really one of those fights, and for me, is just a stay away. I don't have an interest in being involved. Next fight on the docket, I don't even want to talk about. Women's flyweight, Maria Silva taking on Jillian Robertson. Either of you guys want to touch on this or no?
Robertson is a Canadian with 3 straight wins by finish, so somebody's got to be hyping her. So I'll pick the Brazilian.
I'm sure
that Brazilian
websites.
That Brazilian chick had a pretty decent sub on Tuesday Night Contender Series.
Yeah.
Jillian Robertson's tough though, man. She's young. She's getting pretty good, dude. I think she wins. No bet though. I ain't touching this fight.
Yeah, that's not of interest. Last fight on the prelims, and this is an interesting one. Sergio Moraes taking on Ben Saunders in a battle of 2 guys with pretty darn good submission games. Wes, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, Sergio Moraes, man, he's a pretty fun fighter, man. For as old as he is, man. Ben Saunders has got like 1 win in the past, year and a half or so, and it was fucking just the ghost of Jake Ellenberger, man, and he got fucked up by Alan Joe Bad and Peter Sabata. And the only guy Moraes has lost to in like the past 6 years is fucking Usman. That's it.
It's insane.
Like that's pretty fucking good. And you're talking wins over Tim Means and Davey Ramos and shit. Like that's pretty damn good for a guy that just doesn't get a ton of hype, man. 36 years old now. He's going to finish Ben Saunders. I got him in a parlay with some other chalk on this card, and I'm going to look for him inside the distance when the props come out.
New Sean.
The props are out, Wes. Moraes inside the distance. Moraes inside the distance is plus 115.
That's a bet.
Yeah, Saunders is washed. Moraes is going to win here. I'm actually going to wait for the TKO prop. I think there's going to be some value in that just because of how washed Saunders is and his chin. I think Moraes is he might throw that big right hand and knock Saunders out. So if it's in the plus 300 range or bigger, I'll be putting a half unit on that. But yeah, this is all Moraes. I think his stand up is good enough, and his jiu-jitsu is even better than Saunders, even though it's pretty decent as well. So I like Moraes in this fight for sure.
It ain't no rubber guard bullshit jiu-jitsu. And fuck Ryan Hall. Fuck Ryan Hall. Fuck you. BJ Penn for life, motherfucker. Fuck you, man.
I got Moraes a C-, Ben Saunders a D+. I mean, Saunders just looks like he's. I'm not gonna say he's punch drunk, but he just can't handle this.
Punch drunk.
He just can't handle the big time punches even that Moraes can throw. I mean, Moraes isn't a world beater on the feet, but he has some variety, and if he lands, he could hurt Saunders. And on the ground, as good as Saunders is on the mat. I mean, Moraes is never going to get subbed in MMA. There's no one in this sport. I mean, I shouldn't say no one. There's a guy named Brian Ortega. People might have heard of him. He has some ability. Could submit you potentially, but Sergio Moraes is not going to get. There's just no way. No way. It's not happening on the ground. I'd love to see just a little bit of a grappling contest here between a little little Eddie Bravo action versus, the land of the land of that created jiu-jitsu, or really kind of made jiu-jitsu what it is, Brazil, just kind of show, abilities and techniques and, kind of do that kind of contest. And I think Moraes would whip the floor with Ben Saunders, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. So I really hope it's not like a quick knockout. I hope they do go to the ground and Moraes really shows what he's capable of on the ground, because it's beautiful when he's able to do it. So I like Moraes too inside the distance. But Moraes in general is one piece of a parlay. That'll be our consensus bet this week. So Sergio Moraes is the first piece of that parlay. We'll announce the second piece later coming up. Preliminary card, televised prelim card. We got Augusto Sakai taking on good old American boy Chase Sherman. Wes, what's there?
Yeah, I mean, Chase Sherman, he's about as bad a fighter as he is a Twitterer. You know what I'm saying? Like a Twitterer. Yeah, man, this is another fight where I just see it's almost like Russia last week, man. Like some chalk here is like deserved chalk, and I think Sakai is absolutely one of those. I actually think he should be a bit higher here, maybe because it is heavyweights. He's not, but man, this seems a little bit off to me, man. I just don't think much of Chase Sherman, dude. He's gotten beat up his past couple fights, and he's got a couple wins against some pretty bad guys, man. And Sakai just seems like a young guy on the come up right now, man, in a division that needs some young guys up and coming. And I think he'll win this fight fairly easy. I have him at a parlay with some chalk, and we'll be looking at him inside the distance.
New Sean.
Yeah, I don't think Chase Sherman is good at all. Like Wes said, his wins are against some pretty damn bad fighters, and that's saying something at heavyweight. Augusto Sakai's looked all right. I mean, he's definitely got some skills, got some power. He should. He's a heavyweight. He has been in a decently high stakes fight. He did lose to Czech Congo, but he went to decision. That was a fairly boring fight, if I remember, but at least he was in there, so that might help him out with his UFC jitters. I expect him to knock out Chase Sherman, who has very, very bad defense.
Yeah, this is. I don't think this is going to end well for Chase Sherman either. Augusto Sakai comes in with a pretty nice record. Some pretty good wins. Beat Alex Nicholson the first round of his. Not too long ago. Chase Sherman, he has a few wins in the UFC, or has been competitive in some fights, but he's fought really real bottom beaters. He's facing a guy that can hit hard, has some accuracy. This isn't going to end well for Chase, and I expect him to get beat up in this bout, if not finished. And that's our second piece of our parlay. Augusto Sakai and Sergio Moraes, and I believe, Nushan, that pays minus 117?
That is correct.
Yeah, minus 117. That is our MMA Analysis consensus bet of the week.
Get back on the winning track after a piss poor showing last fight card.
That's right. We have nothing to hide from.
Nope.
No, will say it.
All free.
This week. All free. We're not selling it, so...
Yeah, fade it if you want it. Yeah, that's right. Luis Enrique, Ryan Spann, light heavyweight contest, Wes.
Yeah, man. I think Ryan Spann's just been a little underrated here, man. I know he's going down to Brazil, but I think he's a far better fighter, man, than Luis Enrique, man. I think Enrique's just pretty terrible, actually, man, and Spann has got some skills, man. He was beating the upper echelon of LFA, man, which is one of the better regional organizations. He did get a shot on Dana White's the Contender Series. He lost to Carl Robinson on there, which Carl Robinson's not too bad. He ended up getting a fight with Cesar Ferreira, and he lost it, got subbed, but I think Robertson's a pretty good fighter, and then when he lost that, man, he went and beat Myron Dennis. He knocked out Alex Nicholson. Those are pretty decent wins, man. And Enrique's just he's getting humped on and beat by guys that are decent in the UFC. I absolutely think Span can win this fight, man. He opened at like minus 190 something, and he's coming down to minus 160. I put a little bit on that. It's still a little more juice than I wanted to pay, but man, if it keeps coming down and he hits minus 130 or something like that, I'm going to put another full play on it. I really like him in this fight. I think he wins this, and I think Span's got some pretty good talent. I know he's a small heavyweight. He's fought at light heavyweight, but Enrique's a tub of shit. I mean, he just throws on a bunch of fat to get up to heavyweight because he's fought at light heavyweight too. So I think Span is putting on mass to where Enrique's just fucking putting on shit to get up to heavyweight. So I think Span wins this fight and wins it pretty easy, and I really like him here.
That's fair. New Sean.
Allegedly, this fight's at light heavyweight, Wes, so I guess okay. Enrique's finally dropping back down to light heavyweight. He's fought all 5 of his UFC fights at heavyweight, but I know earlier in his career he had some at light heavy, so that is something to watch. He'll have to have cut out the shitty food and all that stuff. We'll see if he can actually.
He's still a tub of shit.
He is. He's not chiseled in granite. That's for damn sure.
No, he's not.
Yeah, Span's had a decent little run here after losing in kind of embarrassing fashion on the Contender Series when he got blitzed in 15 seconds, redeemed himself and won in 26 seconds. So I think he's the more technical fighter. It is still big boys. Henrique still does have a lot of power, so I'm hoping it does come down a little bit more, maybe in the 140 range, 130, and then I'll play Span. But yeah, he's the pick.
Yeah, I don't know. This is to me pretty close. Span definitely has shown some potential, but Luis Enrique is one of the better. I shouldn't use the word better, but he's a capable wrestler, and I'd be curious to see if Span, how Span kind of handles that. Especially going 4,000, 5,000 miles south to get there to do it. So I think this is a tough fight to call, and I will pass on that. Fringe-ish top 15 lightweight bout up after that. Evan Dunham and Francisco Trinaldo, and kind of 2 elder statesmen going at it. Wes, what do you think of this bout?
Grandpa Trinaldo is going to beat Evan Dunham here. Evan Dunham, I believe, is retiring after this fight, or he was talking about retirement and stuff.
Yeah.
Retiring or talking about retiring?
He is retiring after. This is his last fight.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you're going to go down to Brazil and fight Grandpa Trinaldo, dude, down there in front of all them people. I mean, and Trinaldo's not bad, man. That dude's pretty good. I mean, he's only lost to Kevin Lee and James Vick in the UFC, which isn't anything horrible, man. And it's got some pretty big wins: Jim Miller, Paul Felder, Yancey Medeiros, Ross Pearson, LaPriest, Nova Park. I mean, Trinaldo's had a pretty decent career. All things considered, as late as he got started in the game. So, yeah, I like him here. It's another piece of chalk that I used in some parlays, and yeah, you gotta fade a 36-year-old guy that's in a retirement fight.
You, Sean.
I love the Grandpa Trinaldo. How can you not? This is kind of a weird fight with Evan Dunham retiring after. I don't know many guys that have won in their retirement fight, so that's another thing going against Evan Dunham.
I'd always bet him here, man. I'd always bet Dunham at 2-1 in this spot. I have so many times.
Yeah, he's definitely the guy that you want to bet as like a decent sized underdog, but not as a favorite. And this would be the occasion, but he's retiring, so I think that puts a wrench into that. He also got beat pretty bad early by Ohm last time. He has shown a bit of weakness to the body, so I think Trinaldo might throw a body kick and crumple Evan Dunham. I bet fight doesn't go the distance at plus 150. I think Trinaldo gets it done at some point in the fight, and yeah. He should win.
Yeah, I rate both these guys a C+. I think this is interesting. I don't like that it's Dunham. Dunham says he's retiring after this bout. It's kind of weird to retire. He's a Vegas guy, if my understanding is correct, or he's trained in Vegas for a long time. And he's going down to Brazil for a fight-ending thing. I mean, it makes no sense. They could just put him on next week's card in Vegas and let him retire there. I don't like that. I think that's kind of like a bad omen. Like I said, I don't like it. Should be interesting. I think Trinaldo does have the strength advantage, and it could get Dunham down, and that could cause problems. So I kind of lean towards him to win, but as long as it stays on the feet, and if it gets tricky, I mean, Dunham's got a better gas tank for sure. It's interesting. I just think probably Trinaldo's a little bit too much of a favorite here. It kind of surprised me as I grade him similarly, but I'll take Trinaldo to get the win, but we'll see. The return of Christos Giagos in this card, and he's the sacrificial lamb to Lance Fishel and MMA Analysis, friend of the MMA Analysis, Charles Dubra Oliveira. Wes, who does not like watching Charles Oliveira fight? Can you name me one person? Even the Twitter nerds like him.
There's a couple that don't like the Dubra.
They don't like that he tore his esophagus or whatever.
Esophagus,
Max Holloway, right? Yeah.
I mean, all there is to say about this is, go, bro, choke him dead. Next. That's it. That's the breakdown. That's all you need.
It's a weird fight. This isn't a late notice fight. This is just a keep busy fight, I guess, for Dubronx.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna choke out the parrot from Aladdin. Do you get that reference, Iago?
Oh, terrible!
Come on.
I want to see what sub price is, and
I mean him inside the distance is minus 215, so I don't think you're gonna get much for value. Inside
maybe minus 170.
If TKO is big enough, I don't know. Take a shot.
That might be interesting.
There's some funny lines going on lately, so hopefully they get stupid again.
I don't know.
You got anything for this, Jay?
Not really, other than the obvious. I mean, Giagos is. Let me just look at one thing here. He's been subbed 3 times in his career by. Okay, let's look by who. He's been subbed by Gilbert Burns by Armbar. I remember that. Mm-hmm. He's been subbed by Poppies Martinez, okay? Poppies Martinez. Poppies, okay? And then another former UFC guy, Jason Gonzalez, darts choked him back in 2012. He's also been TKO'd by Josh Emmett, all right? None of those guys are Dubronx.
Nope.
This fight goes to the ground. Giagos doesn't even have good wrestling or good takedown defense. I mean, Charles Oliveira, I think Charles Oliveira's wrestling is underrated. People used to say he couldn't take down anybody. They were wrong.
Yeah,
he's taking down guys.
Yep.
They're wrong. I mean, he's been overwhelmed by big BSGs of the lightweight division. I haven't used that. We haven't used that term a lot in this podcast in a while because the guy I don't want to mention used to use it, but yeah. I mean, Giagos isn't that. I mean, sure, he's 5'10", so what? 71 inches. He competed in high school wrestling. Okay, whoopee-doo. I think this goes to the ground and Dubronx subs him. Whoopee. In Brazil, let's call it a spade. It's going to be fun. We'll be entertained. He'll get another sub win. That's the way I see it. Yep. Main card, only a 5-fight main card.
Starting at a weird fucking time, though. They're starting at
10:30.
Yeah,
there has to be something with college. It has to be something with college football.
Ugh.
That's my prediction. Probably there's a
you're right. I think
there's probably a I don't know who the hell
7:30 game or something. At 7.
Yeah,
7.
We got 7. No,
They're usually 30 hours.
Yeah, it's probably like a 7 o'clock game or something.
Yeah, I'm checking now to see what's going on.
Just
Yeah,
get
7
this.
o'clock game. Texas Tech OSU.
There's going to be a lot of points in that game.
Yeah.
There might be like 100 points in that game. That's going to take a while. Yeah. So that makes sense.
FS2 start. Already calling it. You'll have every MMA nerd like, where's FS2? I ain't even got FS2.
Yeah, I don't pay for cable. I can't afford cable. Yeah, we know.
I sell pigs, but I can't afford fucking cable.
Yep. All those, we're not going to go there. But yeah, Randa Marcos is taking on, I believe, undefeated Marina Rodriguez.
Yep.
Wes, what do you think? Do we have is this basically a pick'em fight, huh?
Yeah, it is now, but I thought the opener, Rodriguez was plus 165 on the open. I didn't get that whatsoever, man. I mean, that was a really decent performance and a big spot for her. I mean, she was getting hyped up coming into that Tuesday night Contender Series fight. And, man, I just think this is a bad spot for Marcos, man. I mean, she's flying all the way down to Brazil, and you know how she always, just the weight cuts are a struggle. This girl ain't necessarily young, I don't think, at 31, but kind of younger to MMA, especially at this level. But I don't know. This just kind of seems like a setup to me, man. And at plus 165, I took a little shot here on Rodriguez.
Nushan, do you think the newcomer can get her first win in the UFC?
Probably.
Or are you just betting? Are you looking to just bet the over?
No, neither.
I assume the latter.
Wow! I don't give a shit. I'm gonna pick the Brazilian because a lot of Marcos's wins are greasy wins that she gets in Canada, just because the crowd sways the judges. So I'll pick the Brazilian.
Okay then. I don't really know. I think it's weird for Marcos to be doing this long trip to Brazil, facing an undefeated fighter. Who looks like she has some pretty decent wins, but I haven't seen enough of Rodriguez to really gauge much of an interest here to bet. But yeah, this should be interesting. We'll definitely learn a lot about both fighters, I think, from this bout. 4 fights left to talk about. Man, Renan Barão is a very slight favorite, a guy that many consider to be a top 5 fighter in the world at one point against something called Andre Ewell. Wes, what is going on here?
Look, man, this is a little crazy to me, man. I think Barão is at the point now to where, I mean, the dude's still only 31 years old, man, and I think we've seen it actually before in MMA to where a guy's at that high level and loses and stuff, and people's like, oh, he's just washed, but then he starts getting fights down at a level that, you know, he probably should have been getting after he had some losses. And I think Barão's at that level now. I think he's going to get some fights against guys like this dude, which I've seen him fight, man. He's got some wins on decent promotions, CES, LFA. But, man, I mean, he's literally going out there and getting first-round subs and knockouts on guys that just ain't that good, man. Now, don't get me wrong. He goes up there and performs and beats them and does it in a great fashion. But, man, Renan Barão in Brazil against this cat at minus 125, man, that just out of principle, I have to bet that. And I did. I'm taking Barão here. If he loses to this guy in Brazil, I mean, it's it. That's over. I don't see that, man. And like I said, the biggest point is at 31 years old. I mean, come on, man. He's getting fights now on a level of guys that he should absolutely beat, and I think he does that here.
Nushan, what do you think Renan Barão's peak was as a fighter?
Let's see. It would have been, I would say,
I think I have a fight in my head.
The Eddie Wineland? Maybe the
correct statement.
Wineland or the Faber fight right after that where he TK'd him. But both of those were good fights. Right before that, he beat Michael McDonald. That was pretty
He was
impressive.
untouchable.
The TJ fight was good though. The first TJ fight was
No, he got
pretty.
murdered.
Yeah,
He got
you're right.
smashed pretty good. He just held on for 5 rounds before he got
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah,
Man,
you're right.
he was untouchable at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really, really good.
Yeah, this fight
He's
is
still never been finished in the first round ever, though.
The sport caught up to him. I think the sport caught up to Burrell. Like, guys just got to his level. You know, he was ahead of his time. He was just so skilled for 2013. You know what I'm saying? Just
I
a
think
year.
the TJ beatings, I think, took a
the
part.
beatings.
I think that's a big piece of
the
it.
fights in the gym. Who knows how much that took out of him? And we
Yeah,
see
because he only had one beating.
Yeah,
He only had one beating. Like, we've seen guys take dozens of beatings and
But not
ended
everybody
up.
can.
Yeah, that's true. But it was literally one. That was the only beating he ever took, was that one. But Sean's right. Like, their gyms are just different. Like, those guys are knocking each other out in the gym and shit, you know. So who knows how many actual beatings he took.
yeah.
As far as in the cage, though, you know.
And we know how some of the cliffs these smaller guys fall off of when they hit the wall. It's a pretty bad drop. So this fight is going to be very interesting to see how he does, if he's completely shot or if he's can still kind of hover around that top 15. You'll open plus 250. I mean, I kind of get betting him at that range maybe just to see how shot Barao is, but now that it's down to damn near a pick him, I think that's kind of crazy. I still don't really want money on Barao in 2018, so I probably won't bet him unless he becomes a dog or something. But I'll pick him, and hopefully he's not that shot.
Yeah, it's just a crazy fucking line, man. That's just insane. Barao in Brazil against this fucking dude.
Yeah, I agree with Wes. I'm not going to say anything more. That's it. Very surprising. And if he loses here, yeah, it's time. To leave, or at least minimum to leave the UFC. This fight is something else. Smiling Sam Alvey, not a guy he called out rarely. It seems like he always calls someone out, but this is a guy I didn't call out. Fighting Little Nog? Does anyone still guys think this fight's actually going to happen?
No.
He's still got to make it. He's still got to make that walk.
They got to ring that bell and the fight's happening.
Okay. Wes?
Yeah, man. Look, we know guys that are talking about betting fucking Little Nog. I get there. It's plus money, man. But goddamn, he hasn't fought in 2 years. When he did, he got just mashed by Bader. If Sam Alvey throws punches, if he put it like this, if he goes over 10 punches, double digit in the fight, I think he wins. I think Alvey's going to do that. I don't see how you can pick Little Nog, even in Brazil. 42 years old, 2 years off. Come on, man. Come on. I know Sam Alvey ain't the best, but Sam Alvey shows up and fights. He doesn't give a shit about being in Brazil. He loves that shit. Like, I can't see it, man. I can't see Alvey losing this fight. It would literally take him throwing single-digit punches over 15 minutes and not getting some kind of split decision. Not impossible, I guess. Not impossible. I can't see that, man. Sam Alvey's gonna win this fight.
What do you think, Sean?
I threw $100 on Alvey by decision at plus 265.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think he's gonna win. Lil Nog is beyond shocked, but I think he might be able to survive. He's almost survived the decision against Bader. Alvey, we know, doesn't throw more than 5 strikes a round, so he might win. He's probably going to win, but I don't know if he finishes, so I had to take a shot at decision at plus 265.
Yeah, I got Alvey a C-, Little Nog D+. This, Little Nog is so old, so slow. Alvey's chin is just 7 or 8 times better than Little Nog's. I think Little Nog can knock him out. I really do. I really don't see us. Little Nog can, he's got pretty decent boxing, but Alvey just doesn't seem troubled. He's got a really good chin. I think he'll be fine. And the little burst from Alvey will be enough to get the finish. Co-main event. Cowboy taking on the dude known as Carlo Pedersoli Jr.
Pascoli?
little Stoli Blueberry. West. This is not a guy Cowboy loses to. It's just not.
Yeah, Cowboy's gonna be massive compared to this guy too. Dude just fought a few months ago. He went to a split decision against Brad Scott, who knows with that fucking cat. Cowboy coming off probably the biggest win of his career. I know was a washed up Carlos, but still, that's the biggest win of that dude's career. This is just another spot on here where I think the chalk is deserved, and I got Cowboy and some other stuff with chalk like I do on the card, and we'll probably look at him inside the distance or by KO or something too. I think a lot of these Brazilians are going to get finishes on a bunch of these dudes. So yeah, I like Cowboy here. He should get it done.
Cowboy, Nushan, you think there's any trouble here for him?
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna get pulled into the inside the distance prop at minus 135. It kind of bit me in the ass against Tysonov, but I think Cowboy can probably put this guy away. He's so big. He's really good offensively. That loss against Yancey is kind of a rough one, but he was mashing Yancey until he got his nose broke, so I'm not too worried about that. I think he styles on this guy, and like Wes, I think a lot of these Brazilians get finishes in their home country.
This is a huge step up for Pedersoli. I think he's a pretty game fighter, and I think he could have some moments in this bout, but I just think Cowboy's just too much variety. Can certainly throw on the feet, and his grappling game is, especially offensive. His offensive grappling game is definitely underrated. He's definitely had his moments there as well. So I'll take Cowboy. It's not a fight I personally want to be involved in, but I think he wins. Main event, and probably the most interesting bout on the card. We got this is short notice. There's movement going around on a lot of sides. Multiple guys pulled out of the fight, and they kind of worked this fight just only, I think, last week. Former collegiate football player Eric Anders, after a beautiful head kick knockout, one of the knockouts of the year of Tim Williams, returns to the cage pretty quickly, taking on Thiago Santos. This should be interesting, right, Wes?
Yeah, this is a really interesting fight, man. I think everybody knows how big of a fan we are of Santos on this show, and me and Jay's been pretty big fans of Anders for a while. Man, there's a couple ways I think this fight can go, and it really depends on what kind of mindset I think Anders comes into this fight with. If he's going to stand and try to bang with Santos, I think that's a losing proposition for him. But my feeling is he's taking this fight on short notice because he knows he needs a big win. He needs a win against a name. And I think he's taking that chance to get it here, and I think he'll be measured and safe in taking this chance. And I think if he is that way, and he does the more David Branch strategy against Thiago Santos here, I absolutely think he can win this fight. For as good and as vicious as Santos is on the feet, he's still got a serious problem on the mat, especially when he gets a guy on top of him that knows how to control him on the mat. And if Anders does that here, he's going to win the fight. But man, we've seen Anders get in there and like to throw down with guys. Man, he did it with Machida. That's gonna be a losing proposition here, I think, to Santos. As good as Anders, as good as his striking is becoming. But I'm gonna bank on Anders being smart and fighting a smart fight, knowing this is a big fight for him, and getting this win means a lot and could get him and man, at plus money, it's moved a little bit. I'm going to wait a little longer and see if some more Santos money comes in. But I'm probably going to be on Anders here as a dog. Like I said, man, if he goes in there trying to box with Santos, though, I think he's going to be in trouble. But hopefully he's smart and he cashes as a dog here.
Nushan, are you on the Anders train as well, or do you think Brazil holds the fort?
I'm not sure. This is a tough one for me. I was also kind of on the Eric Anders hype train, and then he's kind of put in 3 pretty mediocre performances in a row against Marcus Perez.
Except for a knockout of the year.
Yeah, but that was a brutal fight before that. He might have lost that fight until he landed that, so that is kind of scary. He was a huge favorite. He kind of pulled that one out at the very end. So I just don't know what he is. He had like a shit ton of first round finishes before the UFC. He had that nice one against Natal, and then he's kind of had 3 in a row where I just don't know if he's not pulling the trigger, what it is. So I'm not too sure what Eric Anders is. Thiago Santos, I could not believe when he got knocked out by David Branch in the first round. That still boggles my mind. Branch really hasn't shown much for power. He's more of a wear you down, grind on you, rough you up on the ground. And he was able to knock him out. So I don't. That was a weird fight. Santos looked okay against Kevin Holland, but didn't get the finish. I expect these guys to bang.
Man, what fight was that?
That was just like in August.
I was like, what? Yeah, I got that Branch fight mixed up with somebody because I thought Branch. Who did Branch fight where he laid on him for like 3 rounds?
Crystal Jocko?
Yeah, it was somebody. I got it mixed up with the Santos fight.
That was his first fight in the UFC. Well, back in the UFC anyway.
David Branch KO'd somebody pretty decent. I'm trying to remember who, too. I'm going to look it up.
He KO'd Santos, but I thought he grinded on Santos for 3 rounds. I got that fight mixed up with something else.
He finished him in 2.5 rounds. It was crazy. So yeah, I don't really have a good thought on this fight. 5 rounds is a really long time for both these guys. Like I said, Santos, I think if he wins, he gets him early. While it's still on the feet. If Anders gets Santos on the ground, I think he can mash him on the ground and get a TKO on the ground. So I played doesn't go the distance. I put it in that parlay. I got doesn't go the distance at -4. What is it? -475. So that comes out to like -117 with the fight doesn't go the distance with Elijah Dushku. I think I'll take Santos to knock out Anders early. It's a tough one for me. I think it's a very, very close fight.
Yeah, this fight's really interesting. I have both guys a C+. I think the reason why this is so interesting is that there's a lot of different ways this fight can go. I mean, it could be a quick Thiago Santos finish potentially, or he's just much heavier on the feet, and Anders proves resilient, and Santos finishes 2nd, 3rd round, or Anders slows the fight down and really makes Thiago Santos work. Santos gets tired, Anders takes over. Anders gets some takedowns and makes Santos' life hell, or Santos goes Mookie and Anders knocks him out. Like I said, there's like a half a dozen different ways this fight could potentially go. I've been on the Anders train as Wes kind of alluded to. As soon as he started, I always kind of lean towards the crossover athletes, especially from American football, and they all end up pretty decent in MMA. They're just such great athletes in a sport that doesn't have a lot of great athletes, and it's going to be really interesting to see. The one thing that I really struggle with is the size difference. Santos is much bigger, longer, taller, just more range. I think Anders could struggle to kind of get inside, and he's going to have to avoid a lot of strikes from the outside. And those leg kicks are pretty brutal. So this is really tough to call. I kind of lean a little bit towards Santos, but I don't think it's a slam dunk. If Anders could just kind of find a way to kind of get inside, he can make Santos' life hell, and then it's anybody's ball game. But like I said, it's the most intriguing fight on the card, and a big moment for Anders. If he can get through this and get a win, he could really start to move up in this division. That just about does it for this week's MMA Analysis. Good old podcast. We're off next week. We're off next week, and we're 2 weeks away from the Eagle taking on Ireland's boy,
the whiskey salesman.
The whiskey
salesman.
Good old whiskey salesman. And there's a press conference later this week at MSG, or Radio City in New York, and that should be an absolute doozy. If anything comes out of that's going to be interesting. It'll be, I guess, their first time going face to face since the Dolly incident.
Khabib's gonna kill us, man. Look, I tell you what, I'm gonna go drink a couple fists of Woodford. I'm gonna piss that into a bottle, and I will sell that to you for $12
nice.
Over this fucking McNutty fucking Irish whiskey or whatever the fuck he's trying to sell now. Just get in the cage, dude. Get in the fucking cage. Let Khabib fucking...
He's got to make his money, and just in case Khabib absolutely fucking destroys him and he can't fight again.
Hey, cocaine ain't cheap, man.
That's right.
Let Jon Jones tell you, he's snitching on guys to get back in the cage so he can afford that cocaine habit. Oh, it's so good.
Anyway, that does it for this week's show. We'll be back next week, or 2 weeks rather. Breaking down the biggest fight of the year. We're looking forward to it, and we appreciate all you listening. Friends of the show, nerds, friends of the nerds, whatever you may be. Always send us your thoughts, and if there's anything you want to hear us talk about, certainly reach out. Until next time, enjoy the fights.